My dear child, I see your heart. I hear the silent cries, the weight of sorrow that clings to you like a heavy burden. You feel as though the light has gone out, that joy has become a distant memory buried beneath layers of grief and pain. But I am here to tell you today, your grief will turn into joy. Yes, I know it seems impossible right now. I know the road feels long and endless, but I am with you on this journey, walking beside you every step of the way. In your deepest pain, I have not abandoned you. I have not left you to walk this dark valley alone. Even when you feel far from me, I am near. Even when you cannot see it, I am working in your life, weaving beauty from the ashes of your despair. My child, I have promised that those who mourn will be comforted, and my promises are never empty. Your tears are precious to me. I have collected every one, and they are not wasted. I see them, and I feel your pain as if it were my own. But your pain will not last forever. Your sorrow is not the end of the story I am writing for your life. You see only a fragment of the picture, but I, your father, see it all. I know the plans I have for you, plans for hope, for a future filled with my joy and my peace. Though you may not understand it now, though the world seems bleak, I am working out a greater good, even through your suffering. The night may seem long, but the dawn is coming. Your grief will not last forever, for I am turning it into something new, something beautiful. I will give you joy that surpasses understanding, joy that the world cannot steal away. Trust in me even when it's hard. Lean on me especially when you feel weak. Your pain may feel overwhelming, but it is not more powerful than my love for you. The brokenness you feel is only temporary. I am the God who makes all things new, and I will restore your joy in ways you cannot even imagine. Let me take your hand and lead you through the storm. There is light ahead, my light, my joy, and it is waiting for you. So, my child, take heart. Though you may be in the midst of grief, it will not define you. It will not consume you. Your grief will turn into joy because I, the Lord your God, have declared it. I am with you now, and I will be with you always. Hold on to my promises, for they are true, and I am faithful. You will see my goodness in the land of the living. Your grief will turn into joy. This is my promise to you. Trust me, for I am your Father, and I am turning your mourning into dancing. My beloved child, I know the burdens you carry. I see how grief and sorrow have weighed down your soul. But I want you to understand something important today. Your grief is not the end of your story. This pain, this heartache, this seemingly endless darkness, it will not last forever. It may seem right now as if joy has been stolen from you, as if peace is a distant memory. But hear me clearly, your grief will turn into joy. You need to know this because grief often whispers lies. It tells you that you are alone in your suffering, that no one sees your pain, and that even I have abandoned you. These are lies from the enemy meant to pull you away from me, but I am always with you. I know the depths of your sorrow, and I want you to know that I am working in the midst of your pain, even when you cannot see it. I am walking beside you, holding you up when you feel like collapsing, even carrying you when the weight becomes too much. Your grief may feel overwhelming now, but I promise you, it is temporary. The reason you need to hear this message is because it brings hope. Hope is the anchor for your soul, especially during times of great loss and pain. Without hope, it is easy to become consumed by despair. But with hope, you can face each day with renewed strength, knowing that joy is on the horizon. I have promised that I will never leave you or forsake you. I have promised that weeping may last for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Your night may seem long, but I am preparing your morning. A morning filled with my peace and my joy. Understanding this promise will change how you walk through the storms of life. It will shift your perspective. Instead of seeing grief as the final chapter, you will see it as part of the process I am using to bring you closer to me. It is through these seasons of sorrow that I refine you, strengthen you, and deepen your relationship with me. Your grief will not only turn into joy, but it will also produce a greater faith in your heart. A faith that is unshakable because it is rooted in my love and my promises. So, my child, hold on. Do not let grief define you. Do not let it steal your hope. You need to know that joy is coming because it will give you the strength to persevere. I am working all things together for your good, even in the pain. Trust me, and you will see my hand at work. Your grief will turn into joy, and when that day comes, you will look back and see that I was with you all along, guiding you toward the promise of my everlasting joy. This truth will sustain you. Hold it close, for it is my promise to you. Let me remind you of one of my most faithful servants, Job. Job's life was a testament to how grief can consume everything around you, but also how I can restore everything and more. Job was a man of integrity, blessed with family, wealth, and health. But one day, everything was taken from him. His livestock, his servants, and most devastatingly, his children. All gone in the blink of an eye. As if that weren't enough, his health failed him as well. He sat in dust and ashes, covered in sores, mourning the loss of everything he held dear. His heart was crushed under the weight of unimaginable sorrow. Job, in his grief, questioned me. He cried out in his anguish, asking why he, a righteous man, had been brought so low. My child, I saw every tear Job shed. I felt his pain as if it were my own, just as I feel yours. But through it all, Job never turned away from me. His friends urged him to curse me and die, to give up hope. But Job held onto his faith, even when he didn't understand why he was suffering. Though he could not see me in his grief, he knew I was still there. What Job didn't know, what you may not see right now, is that I had a plan all along. His grief was not the end of his story. In fact, it was just the beginning of a new chapter. After Job endured his season of suffering, I restored to him more than he had lost. I blessed him with double the wealth, new sons and daughters, and a long life filled with joy and peace. Job's grief turned into joy, and his faith in me grew deeper than ever before. Like Job, you may be in a season where everything seems to have been taken from you. You may feel as though I have forgotten you or that my promises no longer hold true. But I assure you, just as I restored Job, I will restore you. I will turn your mourning into dancing, your sorrow into joy. You see, Job's story wasn't just about loss. It was about my faithfulness. It was about how I never leave my children in their grief without hope. I am the God of restoration, and I will do the same for you. So when you feel overwhelmed by grief, remember Job. Remember how, even in his darkest hour, I was working behind the scenes. And just as I restored him, I will restore you. Your grief will not last forever. I will turn it into joy, just as I did for Job. Hold on to that truth, my child. For I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. Now, my beloved, let's take a moment to pause and reflect. I want you to think deeply about the grief that you are carrying today. Close your eyes and breathe in my peace. You may feel overwhelmed, burdened, or as though the weight of the world is on your shoulders. I understand how hard it has been for you, and I see the pain that lingers in your heart. But I want to invite you into a moment of reflection. Together, let's explore your heart, your pain, and my promise to turn your grief into joy. First, ask yourself, what is the source of my grief? What am I mourning or carrying in my heart that feels too heavy to bear? You don't need to hide anything from me, for I already know your heart. Speak to me as you would a friend, openly and honestly. What has brought you sorrow? Is it a loss? A broken relationship? An unmet expectation? Or perhaps it's a long season of waiting, wondering when relief will come. Whatever it is, my child, place it in my hands now. Next, I want you to consider this. Where have I seen glimpses of God's joy in the midst of my grief? You see, even in the darkest moments, I am working. Even in your pain, I am offering small rays of hope and joy. Have you felt my presence in the comfort of a friend, the warmth of a sunrise, or the peace that comes in a quiet moment of prayer? I am always with you, always reminding you that joy is not far away. Take a moment to remember those glimpses of joy. They are my promises to you that more is coming. Finally, ask yourself, can I trust God to turn my grief into joy? My child, I know it can be hard to believe when the weight of grief is heavy on your heart, but I am asking you to trust me. I have done it before and I will do it again. Your grief will not last forever, and the joy I am preparing for you will far surpass the pain you are feeling now. Trust in my promise. Trust in my faithfulness. I have never left you, and I never will. In this moment of reflection, release your grief to me. Place it in my hands, and let me carry it for you. Rest in the knowledge that I am turning your sorrow into joy, even now, even in ways you cannot yet see. This is my promise to you, and I am faithful to fulfill it. Your grief will turn into joy, my child. Believe it, for I have declared it. Will you trust me to bring that joy into your life? My beloved child, as you have walked with me through this message, I hope you have felt the weight of your grief begin to lift. I see your heart, and I know the pain you've carried for so long. But know this, your story does not end in sorrow. The grief you feel now is not the final chapter. I am with you, working in the midst of your heartache, shaping something beautiful out of your pain. Your tears are precious to me, and none of them have gone unnoticed. I have collected every tear, and I am turning them into the seeds of the joy that is to come. This is my promise to you. Your grief will turn into joy. It may not happen all at once, and it may not look the way you expect, but I assure you, the joy I have in store for you is greater than you can imagine. I am not just healing your pain, I am transforming it. I am making all things new. What once caused you sorrow will one day be the very testimony of my goodness in your life. The places where you feel most broken will become the places where my light shines the brightest. I want you to leave here today with hope in your heart. Do not let grief define your future. Do not let it tell you that I have abandoned you, for I have never left your side. Even in the darkest moments, I have been with you, carrying you when you could not walk, holding you close when you felt most alone. And now, I am leading you into a new season, a season of joy, of peace, and of restoration. Trust in me, for I am faithful to my word. I will turn your mourning into dancing, and your sorrow into songs of joy. As you move forward from this moment, hold on to my promises. Let them anchor your soul when the waves of grief threaten to overwhelm you. When doubt tries to creep in, remind yourself of who I am, the God who turns ashes into beauty, who brings life from death, and who transforms grief into joy. This is not just my promise to you. It is my gift to you. All I ask is that you trust me. Trust that I am working. Trust that I am good. And trust that your joy is coming. Now, I want to invite you into a moment of response. In the comments section below, I want you to declare in faith, "My grief will turn into joy." Speak it out as a proclamation over your life. Let it be a statement of trust, a declaration that you believe in my promise to turn your sorrow into joy. Even if you can't see the joy yet, declare it anyway. Faith is the evidence of things not seen, and your faith pleases me. So go ahead, my child, comment "My grief will turn into joy" below. Let it be your act of faith, your declaration of hope, and your testimony of trust in me. I am with you, and I will fulfill my word. Your grief will turn into joy, and when it does, it will be more beautiful than you ever imagined. I love you, and I am always with you. Trust in me, for joy is coming.